therefore. So what's the word therefore? You've got to remember this. It's a stupid saying, but I always remember this. You have to ask what the therefore is there for. What's the therefore there for? Because therefore means as a result of what has just been stated. That's what the word therefore means. As a result of what has just been stated. So what's the therefore there for? Jesus says, as a result of what I just stated, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoever reads this, let him understand, then, and Jesus gives a litany of things that are supposed to happen. Jesus went straight to the one thing that we all have the ability to identify. Have we seen wars and rumors of wars? Yes. Have we seen plagues, famines, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places? Yes, we've seen that. Are any of those definitive? No, we've seen those for years. But Jesus says, when these things begin to happen and you see these things to happen, watch. Because when you see all of these things and you're watching and you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, now you know you're on the right track. That's the one. Those are the events that I'm talking about. Jesus isn't saying that the events themselves are the definitive piece. Jesus says those are the things that get your attention. When you see the plagues, the pestilence, the war, the rumors of wars, and you see these things coming about, when all of these things start to coalesce, you should be paying attention, because what you're going to see, if the time is right, is that the abomination of desolation is going to happen. So, has Jesus talked about his return yet? No, he hasn't. What Jesus has said is, something you should be watching for is the abomination of desolation. And someone, not Jesus, we don't know who, but somebody put down, whoever reads this, let him understand. In other words, whether it was the translators, whether it was Matthew that said it, we don't know. But we know that somebody put in here, if you're reading those words and you don't know what it means, you better stop and figure it out. Whoever wrote those words knew the importance of it. So we need to understand what the abomination of desolation is. And this is a fascinating piece, because Jesus gives us this alert before he even talks to us about his own return. We're supposed to watch for this. The abomination of desolation points to the beast. It's the beast. So just a spoiler alert, the beast, as we go through Scripture, as we go through all these things, we're going to see the beast is one of 5 different things. The beast can be a man. There's a little beast that's also known as a false prophet, a religious leader that serves at the behest of the beast. There is a political entity known as the beast. There is a financial system that's known as the beast. And there is an angel that's known as the beast. There are 5 things in Scripture that are all identified as the beast. Now they all work together in concert. They feed off of one another. So as we go through them, we'll point out what they all are, and we'll make a point to say, but the one that we're talking about here is the man. This is the beast man. So let's jump over to Daniel chapter 11. So Old Testament, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel. Daniel chapter 11. Let's go find out what it says, because that's a great scripture to to meet the beast. Let's go meet the beast. Let's see here. So Daniel 11, let's start with verse 20. Now, let me give you the history behind this. This is kind of fascinating. Those of you that are watching the political scene might find this interesting. I'm watching this with great anticipation. I will just tell you, I'm watching with great anticipation over the next 4 or 5 months, because I'm watching to see if the scripture actually comes to fulfillment. We've seen a number of things that have happened in our lives, and we're going to see in just a few minutes. We're going to see, we've got time. We're going to see I just have to make sure I keep on track here. We're going to see in a few minutes some scripture that's happened in your lifetime. Prophecy that was fulfilled in your lifetime. We're going to see in just a minute. But right here in what we're seeing in Revelation, in Daniel chapter 11, Daniel chapter 11 is one of the longest prophecies in the scripture. It might actually be the longest continuous prophecy in scripture. The history that we see here in Daniel chapter 11 is the lineage of the beast man. The beast that is coming, otherwise known as the Antichrist to many people. the beast man who's coming, this is the genealogy of the beast man. It's world leader after world leader after world leader after world leader after world leader that is the genealogy that leads to the beast man. Now, in verse 20, we're starting, Haley and Peter, we're starting in verse 20. We're going to talk about the king that is just before the beast. All right? So the king that I'm getting ready to read about is the king who exists just before the beast comes on the scene. Then shall raise up in his estate, not the beast, but the king before him. Then then a man will raise up, just before the beast, who will be a raiser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom. But within a few days, in Daniel's terms, days means years, but within a few days he will be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. So, just before the beast comes online, there's going to be a man who's a king, who is a raiser of taxes for the glory of the kingdom, and his kingship is going to be cut short. He's not going to finish his term as king. He's going to be destroyed as king, but he will not be destroyed in anger by somebody, and he will not be destroyed by battle. In other words, something is going to stop him from ruling before he's supposed to stop ruling, and he's a raiser of taxes for the glory of kingdom. I think that's interesting. That's all. I think it's interesting. Because I know a world ruler right now that is a raiser of taxes for the glory of the kingdom, whose kingship may end up cutting short. And I'm watching that. Because the person who is after that is the beast. So what does it say about him? And in this man's estate will stand up a vile person, to whom they will not give the honor of the kingdom, but he will come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Now there are a few things on here that we have to look at and we have to identify. In communism, is there a they that gives the kingship to a communist ruler, to a communist dictator? No. Not in communism. In communism, you assassinate whoever you have to assassinate, people get afraid of you, they decide to follow you, and you basically take power through assassination and trickery. That's the gist of it. Socialism. Is there a group of people who bestow kingship to somebody? No, there's not. When you end up, what about monarchies? Is there? No. So I look at the various types of governance in the world. There has to be a they who give the kingship to a him. So when I look at that, I have to ask the question, could it be a democratic society that we're talking about? Because there's a they that ends up giving the power to the him. But in this case, this is even more interesting because it says that this vile person, it says that they will give the honor of the kingdom. It says that to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he'll come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. In other words, this person is going to come in, he's going to endear himself through flatteries to the people who have the authority to be able to give this kingdom. The person will not receive it honorably, in other words, not the way that it's supposed to be received, but the person will receive the kingship from the them, but not with the honor that goes along with it. So, let me fill in the gaps, just for fun. As I said, I'm a systems analyst guy, so I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, how many different ways could this play out, right? So I'm gonna use the United States purely for example. I'm not saying that this is true, not saying that I'm right. I'm just gonna use our government as an example, purely example. That's it, just an example. We have a president currently, let's say that our current president, whatever this person's name is, I'm not gonna say it because I might get kicked offline if I said who it was, that the current president, whenever this video is being watched, circumstantially, hypothetically, doesn't finish his or her term, for whatever reason.